Auburn picks up another safety out of the transfer portal late, and Auburn basketball getting ready to head to the Players era. Welcome on into the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport. I am your guy, Ike Jones, sitting in for Mike G today. And, Jacob Goins is in the building. What y'all say? Getting it going with Goins? Is that what we're doing?
You're getting going. It's time to get going with Gittins and Goins. I don't know if Jones and I don't know. We'll have to come up with our own spin on that, my man.
I'm gonna let that be Gittins and Goins, and we'll just for today, we're just gonna get it going with Goins. But yeah, man, glad to have some. I'm not gonna lie, I was very happy to see the news. Jacoby Mathews coming over to Auburn out of the transfer portal, a guy who was on Texas Tech's team when DJ Durkin was there as the defensive coordinator, now going to be a safety with Auburn University. Jacob, what are your thoughts on Jacoby Mathews?
Yeah, really excited, man. I really am pumped up to see what this guy is going to be able to do. He brings 2 years of eligibility to Auburn, which, that's a big deal. But I think even the bigger deal, Ike, is the fact that he's immediately eligible. He could play this year, right now, when the team gets back together and begins fall practices. He's going to be a part of the team and can see action on the field this fall. And you're talking about a guy who was in the 2022 high school recruiting class. He was the number 1 ranked safety in the class. He went to Texas A&M. He played there for a couple of years, and he's talked a lot about during this whole, commitment process, right? And when it did become official that he was going to be an Auburn Tiger, he said it was because of DJ Durkin for obvious reasons. How many times have we seen a high school player or a transfer portal player on the defensive side of the football pick Auburn because they want to play for DJ Durkin, because of the system that he runs, the development that he provides, and just the opportunities you receive when you play for DJ Durkin. And so, you bring in Jacoby Mathews, who had a couple of really good seasons at Texas A&M, went to JUCO, was focusing on some athletic or some academic things, right? And now he's going to be playing for Auburn in the fall of 2025. He joins a room of safeties that I absolutely love. Some younger guys, a little older guys as well. I think of Caleb Harris. I think of Amonis Lane Gaines. I think of Antoine Fagans, right? I mean, you have so many names. Plus, you have Eric Winters, the freshman from Enterprise. I mean, dude, that room is stacked, Ike. And now you bring in someone with some experience, someone with some leadership. I think that's only going to help Auburn secondary in a position that I think you were already in a pretty decent spot.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing for me. You just talked about it. You ran down the names. Safety was not a position that I was particularly worried about with Auburn. But I will say, as I went through the safety room there, I thought that the spot that Sylvester Smith currently has, which is kind of that rover free safety position, was one where you weren't 100% sure of how good you were going to be there, because a lot of the guys that I think were going to be second, third string potentially in that are going to be younger guys. You mentioned guys like Fagans, New Boy is definitely factoring in there. Guys like Eric Winters that could potentially step in and play in that role. This, for me, gives Auburn the depth at that safety position they absolutely need, with experience in DJ Durkin's system.
Yeah, and we talk about it so often with every position on a college football team at the P4 level, and especially in the SEC, you can never have enough. You can never have too many dudes back there, especially in the secondary, a spot with corners and safeties and things like that, where you just never know what's going to happen, whether it's an injury or whether he's not playing well, or it could just be a matchup thing too, right? I mean, you have different guys who have different sizes, who have different abilities, who are better at one thing than the other, or maybe you need to double and somebody's got to be on an island by themselves. I mean, all these different possibilities are out there, and you bring somebody in like Jacoby Mathews, who, he's going to have to learn the DJ Durkin system at Auburn, but he understands what DJ Durkin wants to run, right? And he understands the expectations and the drills and the practice and the training and all of those things that you get with any sort of position coach. you now bring in somebody who knows all of that already, and somebody that's proven it with individual tackles and pass breakups and interceptions. He has all those stats at his previous stop. He brings that to the SEC. He also knows SEC. He knows how it is and how difficult it is to play in this league. And so, I mean, I have nothing but good things to say. I don't see a downside to this. Do you, Ike? I mean, I don't see any downside to bringing somebody like Jacoby Mathews in for this team.
No, I don't see any. I mean, the only thing that you could potentially point to is some of the younger guys feeling like, okay, he's got a couple of years of eligibility. Now, where do I fit in? But that room is young, so it's not as if those guys don't have plenty of eligibility. But what it allows you to do is be a little more cautious with guys and not feel like you got to throw them out there immediately and say, okay, now you need to go out here and be the guy for this team year one. I don't know what the conversations and expectations were around the folks in that safety room about playing time this year, but it does give you a little bit more flexibility and freedom to say, okay, maybe we don't have to throw, Fagans out there too soon or Eric Winters out there too soon. We can preserve some eligibility or, and this is the thing I think a lot of people forget, it helps you to be able to potentially bolster your ability to play more guys rotationally and get some guys that are super talented out there in special teams, because we don't, I don't know why we don't think about special teams when we think about these players and their talent, and being able to utilize guys in different ways. But that is absolutely a way that needs to contribute, because listen, let's be clear. Auburn was not very good in special teams last year. Right. And I don't think that we can belabor that point too much. Wasn't good in special teams in a lot of different ways when you're talking about penalties, when you're talking about coverages on kicks, right? They didn't do terrible in kick coverage, so I don't want to bag on them too much there, but you just didn't see enough special out of the special teams last year. I think adding a guy like this that can solidify your rotation allows you to at least bolster that special teams a little bit more as well.
That's a really good point. And I think Auburn fans may have a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth based off of what Keontae Scott brought you, right? I mean, a guy that was really good at his position. He wanted to play a different one. It didn't work out moving from corner to nickel and trying to bounce back and forth. It just wasn't what Auburn was looking for. And then him and punt returning too. Let's be real. Look, I liked Keontae a lot. I had a chance to talk to him several times. He's a really good dude, but there were several times where he muffed punts, he dropped kicks, he misread them, he misjudged them. He hurt Auburn in the punt return game because he wasn't consistent enough back there. And even Hugh Freeze talked to us in the media, forget which game it was or which Monday morning that it was, he took the podium. He was like, man, we have no real answer or confidence back there right now. We're trying to figure out what that is. And it's because of what you're talking about, Ike, where you didn't have a whole lot of confidence on who was going to be receiving punts. But now you bring in somebody like this, not necessarily Jacoby Mathews to be back there, but allows someone else to be back there and not be in the action consistently. And to kind of zoom out on this as a whole, I look at this just as another addition to a defense that was already supposed to be really, really good, that has high expectations. And if they can deliver, I'm talking the defense across the board, if they can deliver anything near what they did a year ago, which was hold every team except one under 28 points or less. And I know getting off the field on third down was tough, and that hurts the offense and things like that. But just on the scoreboard, man, they did their job. And I think you're going to get a very similar performance and type of production out of the defense again this year, and adding somebody like Jacoby Mathews only helps bolster that idea. And I think the defense will be once again a strength of this Auburn team in 2025. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, when you listen, you kind of talked about something that hadn't really considered as an angle, but a guy who has experience in this defense and in this conference, being able to be a part of a defense that struggled on third down, particularly with being assignment sound in the secondary, that puts you in a different kind of position as well, where you're looking at somebody who has he has more experience. Think about this. Jacoby Mathews has more experience playing DJ Durkin's defense than anybody who is currently on Auburn's roster right now in that defensive secondary. 2 years fully playing that defense. Nobody else on Auburn's team can actually say that they've been able to do that. And I think that that's going to help bolster a portion of your defense that Auburn fans felt really down about, which is, again, third down defense, particularly third and long. Being able to cover out there in space, being where you need to be as far as your assignments are concerned, is going to be crucial for that defense taking that next step, because they were They were actually pretty good on first and second down.
Yeah.
Abysmal on third and fourth down. Like, let's just call it what it is. Third and fourth down, not very good, particularly on third and long. Having more defensive back, particularly at the safety position that's getting people lined up back there, going to be crucial. I do wonder kind of whether or not he's going to be a guy who's going to be calling some stuff, because I think he can step in and play immediately.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I mean, curious on what his leadership role is early on, or do we see that kind of develop as the season goes on? Since these guys all went through the spring and guys coming back, and he's just like, hey, what's up? Happy fall, let's go. Right. Ready for kickoff. Right. Curious on what that looks like, but I expect him to use his leadership, use his experience and things that he knows and has learned and has picked up over his years. And I expect that to be a benefit for Auburn moving forward.
So before we get to the break, one more thing on this, and I want to just kind of drill into something you talked about a little bit earlier, and that is, DJ Durkin and how crucial he has been to Auburn, particularly in the realm of recruiting quality players to Auburn University. I don't think anybody is sitting here wondering why Auburn gave DJ Durkin all of this money, because I think he's paying dividends towards that contract already. Before we get to the break, let's just for a second just talk about how good DJ Durkin has been for Auburn.
He's been everything, really. I mean, he has been everything for this program in a short amount of time that Hugh Freeze has been here. And you heard me say it a second ago, and I'll say it again. I believe he will deliver once again on the defensive side of the football in 2025. There's a reason. You said it. There's a reason Auburn's paying him as one of the highest paid coordinators in all of college football. He's making more money than some head coaches are in college football at this level. And it's for a reason, because he's that good on game day, leading up to game day, in recruiting, just the presence that he brings, the leadership and the skills, and just the IQ and the maturity, all the things that make DJ Durkin great. You see that throughout every single player on the defense. And I had a chance to talk with Eugene Asante all last year throughout football season. He always talked about DJ Durkin and the system that they ran, and the detail that DJ Durkin has, and just how much he wants to win, how badly he wants this team to win. He's done his job so far, and he deserves all the accolades, all the money, everything that he's getting. And I hope that DJ Durkin is in Auburn, whatever role that may be, for a long, long time.
I agree. I'm hoping DJ Durkin sticks around for a while and doesn't feel like, hey, it's time to get back into head coaching. Let's just be a defensive coordinator for Auburn as long as Auburn has that DC spot open for him. All right, we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to shift gears and talk a little basketball. But before we do, definitely want to shout out the show sponsor today, the folks over at Rogue Shop. This segment of the Auburn Express is brought to you by the Rogue Shop, America's #1 online dispensary. Whether it's sleep, stress, pain, anxiety relief, the Rogue Shop has a remedy for you. Make sure you use code RAPPORT when you go over there to get 15% off, and that lets them know the good folks at the Warport sent you over there. One thing that we are not stressed about and don't need any aids in is basketball, right? Because Auburn basketball is doing their thing, and Auburn's basketball is going to be a part of the Players Era tournament this season over in Las Vegas. This is going to be an interesting set of matchups. Recently released which teams Auburn is supposed to be playing for that. And what were your initial thoughts? It was Michigan and I forgot what the second team was.
And Oregon.
Oregon, that's right. Oregon. Michigan and Oregon, the two teams. Two teams out there in the Big Ten. Auburn's going to be playing. It's so weird to say Oregon and Big Ten in the same sentence. I'm still not fully used to saying that. But much of the Michigan team that Auburn played in the Elite, was it the Elite Eight that they played?
Sweet
16. That Sweet 16 team, much of that team's not there anymore. So it's not going to be a lot of, much of the Auburn team that played in the Sweet 16 isn't there anymore. So really two completely different squads going to be going against each other. And Auburn has not played Oregon in basketball of recent history. So what did you think of the two matchups that were announced for the Players Era for Auburn basketball?
I think the matchups are awesome. I really do. I mean, you're playing two teams in the Big Ten, a Michigan team that has Dusty May as their head coach. They return a bunch of talent, and they have quietly added some serious talent through the transfer portal. I think Michigan is a threat to win the Big Ten. I think they're a threat to make another run in the NCAA tournament and threaten and flirt with making a run to the Final Four. Oregon is one of those middle-of-the-pack teams from a year ago out there that I think is going to be better in 2025, which means they'll make the tournament, they'll make a run, and maybe even a second weekend type of squad. And so for Auburn to see those two teams on the hardwood that early in the season, on top of the teams they already have scheduled, right? Purdue and Arizona and those types of teams. Plus you have your ACC opponent now as well. I mean, you have games on the schedule for Auburn once again this year in the non-conference slate that are going to test you. They're going to basically let you see where you are, where you stand, what you're good at, what you're not, what you need to improve on, what you need to lean into a little bit more. And look, I think Dusty May at Michigan is one of the best coaches in college basketball. I really do. And Michigan thought the same thing. That's why they gave him a big time contract extension. But Auburn's going to play Oregon first on Monday, November 24th. They'll then play Michigan on Tuesday, November 25th. And this Players Era tournament is fascinating to me because you play 3 games, and it's not your traditional line them up, seed them, and play a bracket until there's a winner at the very end. You just play 3 games, and your first 2 games, it depends on your record, of course, and then the 2 teams that make it to the quote-unquote championship game, it's all based off of like points scored, points given up, your point differential, and there's a whole bunch of calculations and things that they're going to do, and I don't personally love that idea, but I get it.
It's a little weird. It's a little weird. It's very like soccer-ish.
Yeah, and I get it, right? I understand the idea of you don't want to play a 6-game tournament in November and wear yourself out and risk a bunch of injuries and things, but there's a lot of money on the line. Each team that is participating in this, I think it's up to 18 teams now, I believe. Each one of those teams has already made $1 million in their NIL fund for participating. Yeah. And then the winner of the tournament, right? I put that in air quotes for those listening. The winner of this tournament gets an extra $1 million in NIL funds that go directly to the players. This is a really neat thing. Oregon won it last year. Auburn's going to be in it this year. Alabama's in it. Gonzaga's in it. Michigan, Oregon. I mean, there's just a ton of teams in this thing, and I think it's going to be really, really fun to watch.
Yeah. You mentioned some of the teams, but I'm just going to rattle off the teams that are here involved in this tournament. Tennessee, Rutgers, Baylor, Creighton, Kansas, Notre Dame, St. John's, Iowa State, Houston, Syracuse, Auburn and Oregon, Alabama, Gonzaga, Michigan, San Diego State, Maryland, and UNLV. That is a crazy list of teams that are going to be involved in this. The 2 teams, again, that Auburn will definitely face. Number 17, currently Auburn ranked number 19, according to what I'm looking at in the preseason polls right now, but playing against number 17, Oregon, so a couple of spots ahead of them. And then playing against Michigan, who is a top 10 team. So speaking of, you know, the things you said about Dusty May and all of the talent that they've brought in, the Elliott Cadeaux of the world that are coming to play point guard now at Michigan, ranked as a top 10 team, number 8 in the country. So you have 2 top 25 matchups that Auburn is slated to play out in Las Vegas for this Players Era tournament. Now it's in Las Vegas, Jacob. Are you going to try to see if you can put your dimes together and make the trip out to Vegas to catch Auburn play there?
I would love to make that trip possible. And honestly, for me, it really just depends on what's going on with high school football, right? For calling for Auburn high school, postseason ball is going on right around then. So I hope I'm not able to go because I've got to get back for high school football playoff game. But man, what a cool trip that would be. And then, man, think about this. I don't know what the odds are like for Auburn to play Alabama in this tournament. I guess technically it could for a championship game. Yeah. There's an opportunity for Auburn to play Alabama twice in the same week, once in basketball on the hardwood, because this is the week of Thanksgiving. And then of course in the Iron Bowl on that Saturday afternoon or Saturday night. I mean, I don't know if the state of Alabama can handle it. It may just implode on itself if that happens, but a really cool opportunity. Yeah. For Auburn fans, if you want to go spend the Thanksgiving week and Thanksgiving holiday out in Las Vegas and, you know, have a little fun while you're there, come back, go to the Iron Bowl. I mean, it could be a really, really fun or a really bad week for Auburn fans the week of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about where it's placed is just like its proximity to what's going on, of course, with football during that time, and then the holiday season as well. It's going to make it difficult for trying to cover it for those of us who would like to be able to make the trip out west to be able to do that. But if you want to do that, just go ahead and secure your tickets now, because I am sure that is going, like I just listed off the list of teams that's going to be there. It's going to be insane trying to get tickets to get out there to be able to see this. So you guys make sure that you get yourself secured with all of those things. Just really quickly before we get out of here, I talked about this with Charlie 5, but since we're in the arena talking about basketball, Nike now with Auburn, what are your thoughts on how that's going to do for Auburn, particularly with basketball? Because that's, I think that's one of the bigger things that it's going to impact is the ability to play in Nike basketball shoes this year, as opposed to Under Armour stuff. How do you think the Nike thing is going to translate to Auburn sports?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing, right? I mean, Nike is clearly, obviously, statistically the number one sports apparel brand in the world. And so the fact that Auburn is going to be representing the swoosh now rather than the UA of Under Armour, I think there's a lot of benefits to it. I think in the recruiting world, kids want to wear the best of the best. They want to have the nicest of things. And this is apparel, the shirts that they wear to class, the shoes that they wear to work out in, the jerseys that they actually wear during competition. And you mentioned basketball. I mean, it's no secret. Nike's the king of basketball with all the people they have signed, all the specific shoes they have, all the extra gear, the sleeves and everything like that. I mean, nobody compares to what Nike does on the basketball side of things for all of that stuff we just mentioned. And so hopefully that helps Auburn gain a couple of recruits and the idea that they get to wear all the nicest and fanciest things. And I think that could trickle into other sports too, outside of the big three that we think of with football, basketball, baseball.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this will trickle down into volleyball and soccer and swimming and diving, track and field, all those different sports that we don't always think about. But I think that will have a big time recruiting effect for those as well. And I'm excited to see everything that comes out from this. We've gotten a little sneak peeks here and there, but I'm excited to see everything that comes out from Nike now that Auburn's representing it.
Yeah, they've been doing a slow rollout of what the new uniforms are going to look like. Looking forward to every day those drops. I have to get you on the record on this, Jacob. I'm putting you on the spot. Are you a fan of the alternate uniforms potentially happening? I don't know if it's actually going to happen because I don't think the Auburn folks want it to happen.
Right.
But would you like to see Auburn football specifically have some sort of alternate uniform roll out under Nike?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I am a fan of it. I don't think, I will preface this, I don't think switching to Nike greatly changes that impact, or I guess greatly changes the chances of that happening. I think it does a little, but I'm not convinced yet that just because Auburn is now a Nike that everything is just going to change, because you said it, the people of Auburn who made those decisions before, they're still there. They're still in place. They still don't really want it to happen. And so we'll see. But yes, I'm absolutely in favor of alternate uniforms, jerseys, pants, helmets, you name it. Absolutely. I'm all in for it.
Jacob Goins, pro alternate uniforms, for the record, and I've said it a few times on our show, I am too. Hopefully we will see that here at Auburn. All right, before we get out of here, one more time, tell the people, Jacob, ways that they can follow what you've got going on right now.
Yeah, you can follow me on social media on X at Goins, the number 2 Jacob. That's Goins, the number 2 Jacob. You can also listen in ESPN 1067, ESPNAU.com, Monday through Friday, 2 to 4. Christian Griffin and I go live for On the Line every single day. So be sure you tune in. Check that out. If you're in Auburn, Opelika, 1067 on your radio dial. But if you're not, you can tune in ESPNAU.com.
Absolutely. Jacob Goins in here. Before you all get out of here, make sure you hit us with a little super thanks. Just, something to sweeten the pot to make sure we can continue bringing you all this great content. And if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you know every single time when Jacob Goins is going to be here, because that's really the reason why you guys are subscribing to the channel, just for this segment. Make sure you follow us on social media. We are at The War on Twitter and Instagram, TW Report on TikTok. We are out of here signing off until the next time. And as always, War Eagle.